this video is sponsored by educin.com. If you're a student, check it out. Hundreds of expert academic writers are ready to help you with any type of assignment, school paper, essay, or dissertation. Get a pro ghostwriter to help you get an A+ now. Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about something that trans activists and social justice warriors don't really like talking about too much, which is the fact that sex work and prostitution is rampant in the transgender community. I'm also going to go over some personal experience that I had around age 18 or 19 with being pushed by the trans community and by trans people around me to engage in sex work. So keep in mind, this is a personal story. This is one of the secrets of my life. I've told, I think, my boyfriend this and maybe like one other person in life about this story. But I feel like there's a message at the end that I want to share, and so I'm willing to share this with the internet and my mom who watches my videos. So no, it's not clickbait. The title is 100% accurate to the content of the video. If you didn't know, in the trans community, sex work is very, very common. Whether it's porn, prostitution, escorting, there's a lot of that. And I'm not here to bash sex work or sex workers. If that's what you choose to do in life, that's what you choose to do, okay? It's not for me. And part of the reason why I've never felt at home in the trans community is because there is so much sex work, but I really am not judging. That sounds kind of judgmental, but I swear I'm not. What I am here to bash is this misconception in the trans community, this attitude that the only thing you can do in life is sex work. I think it's very toxic. When I was 18 or 19, before I started transitioning, you guys know I started at 20, I was in a really bad place in my life. I had no money, I had no job, my father had just died, I had no real path in life, no real direction, and I had this looming cost of transition over my head, as most trans people do. You might not understand it, but a lot of trans people feel as though to live their best life, to operate through society in a productive way, they have to transition. That's how I felt at 18 or 19 years old. And with all this going on and really not knowing how to get any of it done, I turned to the trans community, my peers, for advice, for help, for guidance. I went to trans support groups in my city. I joined online groups, and what I was met with was really discouraging. Anytime I sought help from any of the trans people in those groups, I was met with the same answer. If you want to get the money, if you want to get your surgeries, if you want to be successful, escorting, prostituting, or porn. And all of them had convinced themselves and were starting to convince me that the only route to go was sex work if you're trans. You couldn't get any other job. You couldn't be a professional. You couldn't have a career. No one will respect you. You have to have sex for money. Ugh. After probably 6 months to a year of every single trans person in my life telling me that I needed to do sex work if I wanted to make money, I did what I thought I would never do. I joined a website for trans girls to meet with clients, and I started getting offers. When I tell you there were a ton of offers, I got a ton of offers, and I waited it out for a few more months of getting offers, and then finally I responded to someone. It was an embarrassingly low offer, can I just say that? Really tragic to even look back at. I proceeded with calling this person or having them call me, I don't really remember, and they wanted me to meet them at a hotel. Or they were gonna come pick me up and take me to a hotel. I was very much nervous. I was also very much a virgin, by the way. This guy comes to my house, picks me up, and we start driving to a hotel. This guy, I guess there was nothing super creepy about him. I mean, he was like significantly older, so I guess that's creepy in and of itself, but it was just someone probably doing what he's done a million times, which is paying for young trans girls, and that's just kind of what he does. So we get to the hotel, and immediately this person is expecting me to undress and engage in sexual relations with them, which makes sense. I mean, he was paying for a service. It was a gross service, but he was paying for it, so he expected that that's what we start doing. I sat on the bed and I was terrified. I was shaking. I had no idea how to even be intimate with someone, and for that to be my first time, it was just horrible. And all I heard in the back of my head was every trans person I had engaged with from the past year and a half saying, this is what you do. This is how you make money. And basically I couldn't do it. I couldn't take a single article of clothing off. I said, I'm sorry, but this is not what I want to do. I know I said I was going to do it, but I don't feel as though I can. So I was very lucky that this guy begrudgingly was like, well, okay then. I mean, he was mad. He was visibly mad, but he was like, I guess I'll take you home then. And then he did, and there wasn't a single word spoken on the way home. And I felt like trash. I felt like an idiot. I felt disgusting. I felt like even though I hadn't done the act, I felt like I had just being there. So after this incident, probably the next week or whenever, I went to the trans support group that I frequented and that I used, you know, as a sense of support. These were the ones that were basically telling me do sex work. And I told them basically I couldn't do it. I got cold feet and I left before I did the act. And I was so shocked at the reaction they had to me. They are acting as though I was holier than thou, as if I was saying, I couldn't do what you do. You're a sex worker. I tried it. I couldn't do it. That wasn't my mindset at all. If anything, I still felt like kind of a failure. I was still so brainwashed by the trans community into thinking I had to be a sex worker that I felt like I had failed at something, which is so sick and so toxic. But basically after that, I kind of came to the realization that the trans community was not looking out for my best interest. I instead applied for jobs. I got one working retail. I enrolled in school, and then I started making YouTube videos. I worked really hard on my content on YouTube. I started making money from that. I worked hard at my other jobs and the other things that I do, and I saved up money. And in August, I was able to get the surgeries that I wanted, that I felt like I needed, and that were depressing me to such a degree that I felt like I had to do that back when I was 19 years old. And the other element of this is why I fight so hard against trans activists who try to legislate pronoun usage, because they create trans people as a liability in the workplace, contributing to the high levels of unemployment within the community. And then all these young trans girls feel like they have to do sex work. I know that I get accused of bashing the trans community so much, but a large part of it is because I want better for them. When I criticize the activists for saying that you don't have to disclose that you're trans before you date someone or you're intimate with someone, I'm doing it mainly because I want trans people to be safe. I recognize that as a very dangerous thing to do, to deceive someone in that way, and I don't want them to get hurt. When I say that there's so much more you can do in the world other than sex work, it's because whether you feel sex work is morally right or morally wrong, it's a dangerous field. It's a dangerous thing to do. Look up the stats of violence and rape among sex workers, especially if they're trans. It's not safe. Anyways, that is all for this video. I hope that people don't misconstrue or mischaracterize this video as me being judgmental. Just a reminder before I go that I recently started a vlog channel with Joey. The link is in the description. These videos are not serious or political. They're very lighthearted. It's very much just showing my actual real life. Love you. YouTube recently demonetized all of my videos. If you'd like to support this channel, fight YouTube censorship, and keep the videos coming, please consider pledging on patreon.com/BlaireWhite.